basketball hoop?
Yeah.
I heard there's basketball hoop.
Zach will demonstrate.
No pressure, no pressure.
That was great.
Almost.
Yes. Nice.
Welcome everyone, including sports fans, to another episode of What's Up Mainframe. I'm excited to have Nicole Fagen, the Director of Product Management in DevOps, with me today. We're going to be talking about a number of interesting topics, but first of all, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent. You've got your Caitlin Clark jersey on.
I love Caitlin Clark.
I wish I had a Caitlin Clark jersey. I may have to go get one now. I've got my Russell Wilson, Seahawks in the 2010s, doing really well and not so well these days. But in any case, we're here to talk about DevOps, what we're doing as a team. But let's find out about our teammate, Nicole, and because you came over, it's still less than a year, isn't it?
Less than a year.
Yeah, but so much has happened. So where did you come from?
So prior to being in the developer space with you all, I was working in the AI ops and automation space. Okay. So I spent a number of years there leading product management, leading R&D, a lot of different roles over there. And it was all focused on operations. Mm-hmm. You know the really interesting thing about operations? It only matters relative to the applications that are running.
Of course.
So we want to keep everything up, the systems are up and running, but it's not about the system itself. It's always about the applications, which is where the developers come in.
Definitely. There's always the handoff, and so how is that handled? But what are some other areas, as you understand from talking with customers, talking with developers as well, that they're really focused on these days?
With the developer community, what we hear from them is it's all about meeting their business requirements and meeting regulation requirements. And then the third thing would be fixes. So those are the top three categories that we're hearing from everybody as to what's driving their workloads.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, especially the regulatory, it just gets stickier and stickier.
It does, doesn't it? And they're constantly evolving, constantly changing. And I find in Europe, actually, they're quite a bit ahead of what's going on in North America. Mm-hmm. So what we see in Europe, we then see a little bit later in North America.
Yeah, it's of great benefit, I feel like, because the teams here in Prague, we sort of hit that head on, and then it permeates across our organization. Absolutely. And it will affect what we do, will affect all of our customers equally.
For sure.
So, I mean, you talked about the mundanity and all the manual stuff that you had to do in the past. Talk to me a little bit about tooling as well.
So with our teams, it's all about automation, right? Yeah. We've gone to spin up your environment, test your changes, automatically have them come back down. And that's what our customers are looking to do too. Yeah. They want to be able to test small units and then make sure that everything's healthy. Then they want to move it into their integration test environments or system test environments. And lastly, we have a couple of customers who want to do the production-like environments and to be able to be like just a little bit behind what they actually have running live and testing that change as it comes through before they actually deploy, so that they make sure that their applications are of the highest quality.
Yeah, they have that peace of mind that they know there's going to be no issue going from any kind of testing environment to the prod then.
Yep. And our developers, right, the developers themselves, they're like, just let me flow through my day. I don't want to have to go ask 10 people how to do stuff. I don't want to be context switching all of the time. So taking that friction out of the system, automating as much as possible, making it a pleasant experience.
Another sports fan, Jagr.
Gotta love the Penguins. Gotta love the Penguins.
Sorry, keep going.
And so obviously with all of that, I mean, you're a proponent of Code for Z, aren't you?
I am. I think the team has done in Code for Z has been spectacular. All right, being the market leaders, being the first ones to say, this is it. This is where everybody's trending. And then watching as the whole world, over 20 million developers are using VS Code and VS Code extensions at this point. And to know that we picked it, we saw it, we knew that's where they were going to go, and to have the largest breadth and depth of extensions across the mainframe, I think the teams have done a spectacular job.
And an ever-expanding package, right? It's just trying to cover everything that the developers are going to need. So, what are some areas, though, where we still want to do some more?
There's always enabling our customers. So no environment is exactly the same. And where our customers are at is not exactly the same as where we're at. So helping them understand where the potential is to streamline how we've set some things up. I mean, we spend a lot of time sharing, here's how we're doing it today. How does that match with where you want to go and what your challenges are? And just the CI/CD pipelines would probably be one of the big ones, right? We spend a lot of time sharing, here's how we structured ours, here's how we're automating it. And so we spend a lot of time with that partnership and really helping them get going.
Yeah, and that's a very important point, because while we're developing tools and kind of a solution, we're ultimately providing guidance as well. And so we're trying to model what we think people eventually want to move to, and so we're sharing that experience. Now, how do we get information about all of this? And one of the interesting things that I really wanted to key in on with you are the application studies, because this is kind of a newer thing. It's been happening over the last year. So tell the audience, what is an application study from our side?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've had a great time. That's been a great learning advantage for me, is to engage differently with our customers. Yeah. So the application studies are when we go and we meet with our customers, and we're literally sitting down, like we're sitting down right now, and it's
in jerseys.
I haven't worn a jersey, but I might opt for one. And we're sitting down, we're having a cup of coffee, or perhaps 4 or 5 of them, because it's usually, an hour or 2. But it's really just focusing in on, what are you doing with your applications? What's driving the changes for your applications? What are your needs for the applications? What challenges are you facing? Mm-hmm. And what is your ultimate goal relative to your development strategy? Okay. And so from that, it's just an open, honest conversation. And we were able to go across 10 of our largest customers, again, all face to face, and we just work through, what are we seeing.
No, that's fantastic. And I think an important note is that it's really just them educating us about the status of where they are. We're not selling anything or anything like that. It's really just trying to find out their goals, their pain points, and where they're trending, I guess.
Where they're trending, so that when we're setting our strategy, when we're making updates, when we're deciding what our priorities are going to be, they need to be aligned with where the customers want to go.
So I took a look at some of the studies, and there are a couple themes that I wanted to ask you about. So one of them, obviously, a lot of people are curious about, are people moving off the mainframe? And so is there some sort of prevailing sentiment or generalization that can be made from the studies we've done?
There can't. So yes and no, okay, right? Yeah, so there is not a single answer here. There was this point in time where everybody said cloud's the answer, right? Like, it doesn't even matter what your question was, cloud was the answer. And so you had a set of companies who were able to move to the cloud, and they were probably on the smaller side. Mm-hmm. Now, when we look at who's really running on the mainframe, who's driving the transactions in the world, who's running the world's economy, as we're focused really closely on that customer set, they're not moving. They're not moving because of the transaction rates, because of the importance of their data, because the future of the enterprise is private, right? So there is this combination that's happening between cloud and private. And we want to make sure our data stays secure. Regulations is certainly playing a role in there.
Of course.
So I would say that it's not a one-stop shop or one-size-fits-all answer. Mm-hmm. It's really about looking at, what are you trying to accomplish and what's the right way to meet that objective.
Yeah, I think one of the phrases that came out of one of them was the right workload for the right platform.
For sure. So there were definite trends in that space, yeah? So anything that was analytics or the browser interfaces, mm-hmm. or your mobile apps, cloud. Yeah, cloud all day, every day. Yeah. Okay, that's great. When it comes to that content, your corporate data, that's staying on the mainframe. When it comes to leveraging your applications that you've developed over the years, which are already meeting the regulations, nobody wants to redo all of that stuff. There's no way. It would be too expensive, too risky, the whole 9 yards. That stays. And people tap into it. So your browser or your mobile app can tap right into your existing business logic. And you can augment them as new business requirements come in.
That makes sense. Another kind of theme was switching languages, moving away from COBOL, for example. Not much success there from what I could glean from several of the studies.
So that is true. There was a number of people who said, I'm just going to move off COBOL. I'm going to use this automated tool. It's going to take me over to...
Magic.
It's magical. It's going to take me over to Java, and I'm just going to run in Java, and I'm going to be A-okay. and it's, some of the customers called it Jobol.
Yeah.
So it's this weird mashup of Java and COBOL that is completely unreadable. And so they ended up there and they're like, yeah, we can't do that because it's not maintainable once you convert over to that space. So that path didn't work.
Yeah.
What we do see working is that there is a desire to be able to have their newer tenured staff code in Java or in Python. Okay. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. So as there is a need to update a significant portion of a module or a program, maybe they'll rewrite that portion inside of Python or inside of Java. And that becomes an advantage. So they are going at it in a very logical way. Or if they have to implement a very large new function, perhaps that just out of the gate is written in Python or Java.
Java, and they manage it. Okay. And then, of course, I think we're quite interested in tooling. So what did some of the studies show in terms of what these organizations are doing around providing maybe new tooling or training on their existing setup?
Yeah, so everybody is vested in the developer experience. Yeah. That came out loud and clear from everybody because they want to attract and retain new talent. Yeah. And developer talent, it's a competitive market out there. So when you get a hold of somebody who's really talented, you want them to stay.
Exactly.
And they're going to want to stay if they have the advantages of leveraging the most contemporary, the latest tools and such. A lot of the companies, I would say the majority of the companies for sure, said that they want to use an enterprise DevOps strategy. Okay. So they don't want a bespoke program for their mainframe development. It needs to integrate into their overall enterprise strategy. So they've enabled their developers to say, use Code for Z, plus they can use whatever other extensions they want to use inside of VS Code. And they have developers they're calling them hybrid developers. They span across all the way from cloud all the way to mainframe, and they own the whole application regardless of where each portion of that application runs.
Like that, okay.
So that was pretty novel, I thought, and it's pretty cool that you're enabling developers because they can do that when they're staying inside the same tool. They don't have to jump from one IDE to the other. They can just stay where they're at. So I thought that was a neat shift that we're seeing. And then, of course, the automation. Yeah. And the automation being that I can do all my scanning inside of Git. That was a big common use case. Everybody wants all their code scanning, all the reports go out, everything's handled automatically. And so we're seeing a lot of those trends come forward.
Yeah, and that bears witness in my interactions with customers around Bridge for Git, for example, because they want consistency across the organization, and that's one of the main starting points is having that scanning. So with respect to these studies, are they just for us, or are people going to get a chance to kind of look in and glean some insights of their own?
So we are working towards publishing an ebook, which we hope to have out sooner rather than later, of course.
Okay.
And right now we're in the midst of vetting that with all of the participants. So just to make sure that we got their feedback and everybody's aligned. But we would love to share out those insights because it's so important to learn, what another company has tried. And maybe they hit their head so you can avoid hitting your head, or you approach something a little differently, or you learn something, right? So I think that these kinds of sharings are super important to the entire industry.
Oh, definitely. I know when we talked with Alejandro, one of the MBSs, we were talking about how we really like to tie our customers to each other so that they can actually share their own feedback on our products so that they understand the experience and what they were trying to achieve. And I think these studies will kind of fit into that really nicely. So Nicole, just one last question. What are you looking forward to the rest of this year and going into 2026?
Whew. We always have such big plans.
I know.
So really what I'm looking forward to is we're on a journey together, right? Our team is on a journey right now. We've had a lot of success with our individual products over the years, and we're real close to having a full solution. I'm really looking forward to us finishing off those few pieces so that no matter where a customer is at today in their respective DevOps journey or developer experience journey, we can help them. We can help them get to that next step. And so that's really what I'm looking forward to, is us taking those steps together.
I am too. Let's go hit the court and take that on. Yeah? All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Dobrý den, pane Jagr. Prosím vás, podepsal byste se mu. Prosím. Ano, vy.
Jagr?
Jagr. Děkuji, to je super.